In a recent interview, Giannis revealed that his post-retirement plan is to disappear to a place where he'd be unrecognizable in order to enjoy the peace and solitude that comes with not having to worry about hooping and dunking. Tim Duncan, a.k.a. the Big Fundamental, is easily one of the greatest power forwards to ever grace the hardwood floor of the NBA. Being a consensus National College Player of the Year, two-time ACC Player of the Year, NBA Rookie of the Year in 1998, five-time NBA champion, 15-time NBA All-Star, three-time NBA Finals MVP, two-time NBA MVP, even almost scored a quadruple-double in a game once. In today's video, we're going to be looking at what Tim's been up to the past couple years, along with some career highlights. So if you don't want to miss out on all the fun, be sure to stick around. Welcome to Hoop Craze. Let's go. Theodore Duncan was born on April 25, 1976, in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Island. Ione, his mother, was a midwife, and his father, William Duncan, worked as a mason. Unlike most NBA players who typically start off playing basketball from the onset of their childhood, Tim didn't start out with shooting hoops and dunking nets. In fact, Tim's first love was actually swimming. Tim was an excellent swimmer and even had hopes of competing in the Olympics. Tim was not the only water-loving athlete in his family. His sister, Tricia, competed as a member of the Virgin Islands swim team in 1988, and his other sister Cheryl was a champion swimmer before becoming a nurse. The following year, an unfortunate incident that forever changed the trajectory of Duncan's sports interest and crushed Tim's dreams of becoming an Olympic-level swimmer. Hurricane Hugo destroyed most of the island's swimming pools, including the island's only standard pool, leaving Tim pondless to train, leaving him with no other option than to swim in the ocean. As if that was not heartbreaking enough, Tim also lost his mother to breast cancer just a day to Tim's 14th birthday. Before she died, she made Tim promise her that he'd graduate with a degree from college. The concessions of these tragic events eventually left Tim uninterested in swimming or competing. Tim picked up playing basketball at the age of 14 in the 9th grade in high school at St. Duncan's Episcopal after being inspired by his brother-in-law. Tim had a bit of a struggle adapting to the game, but thanks to consistent training, Tim soon started showing potential and talent for the game. Tim averaged 25 points per game in his senior year. His performance drew in offers from colleges such as the University of Hartford, Wake Forest University, Providence College, and the University of Delaware. Tim eventually decided to join Wake Forest's Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Duncan's freshman season was not so much of a walk in the park. He had transition issues and was even held scoreless in his first college game. But as he went on, things got easier for him on the court. Tim averaged 16.5 points, 2.3 assists, and 12.3 rebounds on 57% shooting from his freshman year. Tim also represented the U.S. in the 1994 Goodwill Games. In the 1994 to 1995 NCAA season, Tim was already being respected as one of the best prospects eligible for the NBA. However, Tim made it clear that he had no intention of playing pro before graduating. In the tournament that year, Tim won the Defensive Player of the Year and set the record as the third best shot blocker in NCAA history. He was also voted All-ACC First Team. In the 1995 to 1996 NCAA season, Tim led the Forest Demons to another ACC Finals win. Tim won the ACC Defensive Player of the Year and ACC Player of the Year. Regardless of having an almost guaranteed chance of getting into the NBA, Tim still didn't budge on finishing college before going pro. In the 1996 to 1997 NCAA season, Tim ended his senior year averaging 20.8 points, 14.7 rebounds, 3.2 assists, and an astonishing 3.3 blocks per game, winning the Defensive Player of the Year for the third year in a row. Tim earned the first team All-American honors for the second time. He won the Naismith College Player of the Year, won the ACC Player of the Year, and won the USBWA College Player of the Year. Despite his hectic basketball schedule and incredible achievements, Tim still managed to stay dedicated to his studies. Tim even co-authored a chapter in a psychology book written by Mara Larry, his college professor. After 4 long years at Wake, Tim finally made good on the promise he made to his mother, graduating with a degree in psychology. Tim was drafted as the first overall pick by the San Antonio Spurs in the first round of the 1997 NBA draft. In the season of Tim's rookie year, he put an irrefutable performance as to why his selection was not a mistake. He started in all 82 games, averaging 21.1 points, 11.9 rebounds, 2.7 assists, and 2.5 blocks per game. He won the NBA Rookie of the Month every single month of that season and ultimately won the Rookie of the Year award. In the 1998-1999 NBA season, Tim averaged 21.7 points, 11.4 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and 2.5 blocks, and was also selected for the All-Star, All-NBA First Team, and All-Defense First Team. In the 1999 playoffs, playoffs, Tim and Robinson led the Spurs in defeating the Cinderella New York Knicks 4-1 in the finals. In this series, Virgin Islanders came in flocks to watch Tim play, and he made sure to entertain them with an electrifying performance. Also in the series, Tim was crowned as Finals MVP, and the Spurs won their very first NBA championship. Tim's performance peaked even higher in the 1999-2000 season. He averaged 23.2 points, 12.4 rebounds, 3.2 assists, and 2.2 blocks per game. He won yet another All-NBA First Team and All-Defense First Team. After suffering from the disappointment of 2 playoff eliminations, Tim put up an even more impressive performance by averaging 25.5 points, 12.7 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and 2.5 blocks per game. He won the MVP award for that year. July of that same year, Tim got married to Amy Sherrill, and the couple has 2 kids together, Sydney Duncan and Draven Duncan. Though the couple later divorced in August 2013 on grounds of infidelity, by the next 3 seasons, Tim had grown into an even larger threat to his opponents. He won the MVP in 2002. He was the MVP in the 2003 regular season and won another NBA championship and was named Finals MVP. In 2005, Tim led the Spurs to victory as NBA champions and was crowned the Finals MVP. 2008 to 2012 were a rough couple of years for Tim, as the Spurs couldn't reach the finals despite making the playoffs. Tim's numbers dropped due to the reduced playing time his coach Greg Popovich was giving him to save him for the playoffs. Just as things were looking more out of sync for Tim, the Spurs in 2014, with the addition of Kawhi Leonard and Tony Parker, made it to the finals against the Heat. In the game, the big fundamental led the team in points, rebounds, blocks, and won the NBA championship title yet again. In 2015, as a result of bad decisions Tim made from putting his trust in the wrong financial advisor, which caused him to lose over $20 million. Tim filed a case against his financial advisor, Charles Banks, on the grounds of being deceived into bad investments because of conflicts of interest. Although Tim told reporters that the loss didn't have so much of an impact on his finances moving forward, Tim shared his lessons from placing his trust in the wrong person. He said, "I thought for the most part I was keeping an eye on things. You have to have people checking on people. I did that for a while. Obviously, I got to the point where checking on themselves. The bottom line is this: you can't be angry at yourself. I keep going back to this word, but I trusted someone. I was wrong about it. I got screwed over for it. I'm not mad at myself for that. That's a lesson learned. I'll never put myself in that situation again." When asked in an interview how the loss has affected him, Tim said, "Luckily, I had a long career and made good money. This is a bad chunk, but it's not going to change my life in any way. It's not going to make any decisions for me." The court indicated Charles, who pleaded guilty to wire fraud. In June 2018, Tim reached a settlement and received $7.5 million. Despite falling victim to poor investment decisions, Tim was still bent on not going to go on a circuit trying to warn people about properly handling their finances. According to Tim, he hoped the story gets out enough to educate others. In 2016, after 19 years of a legendary career playing for the Spurs, Tim retired from the NBA. Forbes estimates that Tim made around $220 million in salary throughout his career in the NBA. In 2018, the Spurs paid tribute to Tim by retiring his number 21 jersey. Tim's number 21 jersey has also been retired by the Forest Demons. On July 22, 2019, the Spurs again showed that they were not done with Tim, as they announced Tim as the assistant coach to the team's head coach, Greg Popovich, also Tim's former coach. Tim once led the Spurs to a 104-103 comeback victory over the Charlotte Hornets. Tim later stepped down as the assistant coach on November 12, 2020. Tim was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 2020 and was named the NBA's 75th anniversary team in 2021. Tim is currently in a relationship with his longtime girlfriend of 9 years, Vanessa Macias, and they have a child, Quill Duncan. Tim has been involved in various philanthropic endeavors both before and after his retirement. In 2001, he established the Tim Duncan Foundation to support nonprofit organizations dedicated to youth programs, health, and research. He also supports the American Cancer Society. He has made several donations to fight for causes such as cancer, health, education, children, and sports. He made a $500,000 donation to start an initiative called Yes Our Kids Can, YOKC, aimed at helping students from low-income families. Tim's foundation holds 2 major fundraisers every year: Tim Duncan Bowling for Dollar Charity Bowl-a-thon and the Slam Duncan Charity Golf Classic. So tell us, pre or post-retirement, what aspect of Tim Duncan do you consider most remarkable? Let us know in the comments section. Thanks for watching.